Location: the Skeleton Coast, Namibia, 20 miles inland. Time: dawn. The Bushmen call this place the land God made in anger. The Portuguese sailors called it the gates of hell. I just call it the office. My name is Dr. Aris Thorne. I hunt ghosts made of steel and rivets. I adjusted my goggles, wiping the condensation from the glass. The air was thick, wet, and cold, a strange paradox in a desert. The fog rolling off the Atlantic was so dense I could barely see the hood of our modified land cruiser. "Check the mag-res," I said into the radio. "We should be right on top of it." "Readings are spiking," came the voice of Kalen, my tracker. He was outside, walking ahead of the vehicle with a probe. "Iron mass, massive, just over this ridge." I stepped out of the truck. The silence of the Namib is heavy. It presses on your eardrums. We climbed the crest of the dune. As we reached the top, the wind shifted, tearing a hole in the fog. And there it was. It wasn't a hallucination. Resting in a valley between two massive dunes lay a Leviathan, the SS Eisenherz, a German freighter that vanished in 1910, carrying a shipment of industrial diamonds. It sat upright in the sand, its hull stripped of paint by a century of sandstorms, glowing a dull, menacing orange-red. It looked like it was sailing through a sea of gold. "Look at the keel." Kalen pointed. "The sand is shifting. See the cracks in the dune." I raised my binoculars. He was right. The dune to the east was migrating. Millions of tons of sand were slowly pouring toward the ship. "We have time," I calculated. "Maybe 4 hours before the hull is buried again or crushed." "Not just the sand, Aris." Kalen lowered his voice. He pointed to the north. "Tire tracks, fresh ones." "Scavengers." I cursed. "The hyenas. Illegal diamond miners. They didn't care about history. They would cut the ship apart with torches to find the safe and kill anyone who got in their way." "We move fast," I said, grabbing my pack. "In and out. I need the ship's log and the cargo manifest. You watch my back." "I always do." Kalen racked the bolt of his old hunting rifle. "But remember, Urs, nothing stays found here for long." Location: inside the SS Eisenherz. Time: 1 hour later. Entering the ship was like climbing into the rib cage of a dying beast. We rappelled down through a rusted hole in the deck. The interior was a twilight world of shadows and jagged metal. The air smelled of century-old oil, guano, and decay.
Watch your step, I whispered, my headlamp cutting the gloom. The floor plating is paper thin. The ship groaned, a deep, resonant sound of metal under stress. The pressure of the sand outside was crushing the hull like a soda can. Bridges up top, I said. Captain's safe should be there. We moved through the corridors. In the mess hall, tin plates were still on the tables, half buried in drift sand. A frozen moment in time. We reached the bridge. The wheel was gone, but the heavy iron safe was still bolted to the bulkhead. Can you crack it? Kalen asked. It's a Krupp mechanism 19 Erlog model. Give me the stethoscope. I pressed the device to the cold metal. I turned the dial. Creak! Scrape! Crack! The headline muttered, the ship groaned again. Dust rained down. Click track! The handle turned. It turned through the island. Inside, there were no diamonds, but in the back, wrapped in oilcloth, was a leather-bound book and a heavy brass cylinder. The logbook and the encryption cylinder. Got it. I smiled, bagging the artifacts history saved. Aris. Kalen's voice was tight, light. I turned. At the far end of the corridor, a beam of light swept across the wall, then another. Voices speaking Afrikaans and Portuguese, harsh, excited. They found the entry point. Kalen whispered, 3 of them, maybe more. We were trapped. The only exit was the rope we came down on, and they were standing right under it. We can't go up, I said, scanning the blueprints in my head. We have to go down the cargo hold. The hold. Kalen looked at me crazy. That's below the sand line if the hull breaches. It's the only way to the torpedo damage hole on the port side. We can crawl out through the sand. Crazy. Kalen shook his head. I laid. Location. The cargo hold a step. Time. The collapse. We descended into the black belly of the ship. The heat down here was intense. The hull was acting like an oven in the desert sun. Above us, we heard boots on metal. The hyenas were hunting. There, I pointed to a jagged tear in the hull plating. Sunlight filtered through, blocked by a wall of packed sand. We have to dig. I said, fast. We started digging with our hands and folding shovels. The sand was heavy, packed tight. Suddenly, a gunshot echoed through the ship. A bullet sparked off the railing above us. Ah! A voice shouted from the cabrol. Kalen raised his rifle and fired a warning shot. Keep digging, Aris. I dug. Frantically, I could feel the fresh air. Just a few more feet. The ship lurched violently. The dune outside had shifted. The wall of sand holding the breach back suddenly gave way. It wasn't a trickle. It was a landslide! Move! I screamed. Sand poured into the cargo hold like water, burying the floor in seconds. The support beams! Kaylin yelled! The weight of the sand was snapping the ship's spine. The catwalk twisted and collapsed. The scavengers screamed as they fell into the rising tide of sand below. The breach! I grabbed Kaylin's arm! We have to ride the flow out, not in! It was counterintuitive suicide, almost. We threw ourselves at the hole. The sand sucked us in. For a terrifying 10 seconds, I was buried alive. Absolute darkness, absolute pressure. Then, I felt Kaylin's hand gripping my collar. He pulled hard. We burst out onto the surface of the dune, coughing, spitting grit, sliding down the steep slope. Behind us, a final, deafening groan tore the air. The SS Eisenherz succumbed. The massive iron superstructure buckled with a roar that shook the ground. The desert swallowed the ship. The bridge, the deck, the hold, all of it vanished under a golden wave of silica. We lay at the bottom of the dune, gasping for air. The fog was lifting. I checked my pack. The oilcloth bundle was still there. We got it! I wheezed. Kaylin sat up, wiping sand from his eyes. He looked at the mountain of sand. The gutter takes what is hers! He quoted! She tried. I said, standing up on shaky legs. But today, we were faster. I looked at the horizon. Our land cruiser was untouched. Let's go home, Kaylin! I need a shower and a drink in that order! I'm buying. The tracker grinned, shouldering his rifle. But you're writing the report.